very good morning to all my dear children. So today we are going to move ahead with the chapter Force and Laws of Motion. Now before moving ahead, let us just have a recap of what we did. We talked about Galileo. We also mentioned about Newton's first law. And to be very specific, we call it law of inertia. And then we had done the detailing part of this inertia, where we got to know that it is directly proportional to mass. And basically this inertia means the inherent tendency of any of the object to oppose any kind of change. Fine. So basically this law of inertia had told us that if object is at rest, it will remain at rest. If the object is in motion, it will continue to be in motion unless some external unbalanced force is applied. Okay. So till here we studied that the objects try to remain in their original state, whether it is a state of rest or whether it is a state of motion. Now here a question arises that if here the object wanted to be at rest, it was at rest. But what if we want an object to move, right? It is not so that the object will move on its own, okay? So what is a factor which will be responsible or which is required for an object to come into motion? So this is what brings to us towards Newton's second law. But before we move ahead towards Newton's second law, there are certain basic things that we all should be clear about it. So let us talk about the first concept before studying this Newton's second law of motion. Okay. So the next important topic that we have to discuss is momentum. Now let us see what exactly is momentum. Suppose you are standing over here. This is you. Okay. And you are blindfolded. Okay. You cannot see anything. Now if an object is coming toward you, suppose let's say a ball or let's say a truck, okay, and both are coming over here with the same force. The concept is which out of these two will have more impact on you, fine? Which out of these two, ball or truck, will have more impact on you? So obviously answer is going to be truck for everybody. Okay. Now how this is related to momentum, let's talk about it. Please keep this example in your mind for now. Momentum is basically what? It is the quantity of motion contained in a body. Quantity of motion contained in a body. Now it is not only velocity which is responsible for the impact. There is one more factor over here. Let's talk about that. Momentum, if we talk about the numeric terms, it is denoted by letter P, and because it is a motion, it means it should have velocity, and it is having inside a body, it means there should be mass. So momentum is the product of mass and velocity, and if you have to define it, it is a quantity of motion contained in a body. Now again you have to assume over here that suppose you have two balls, one is bigger one and the other one is smaller. Okay. Now both are moved ahead with the same force. Same force is applied for both these objects to move ahead. So now just try and understand which out of these two will have more velocity. Obviously the smaller one will have bigger velocity, whereas the bigger one will have smaller velocity. So this brings us again to the concept where I had told you that it's suppose you are standing and there are two objects which come and are going to strike you. Why I told that? Because this concept mv and mv, or the concept of momentum, what is the thing behind it is that it remains conserved, or it is a kind of constant. Okay. But the condition is same force should be applied. Now if with same force I have displaced these two balls from their original position, obviously this ball having larger mass but smaller velocity. This ball is having smaller mass but larger velocity, but the momentum, the product of mass and velocity of this and product of mass and velocity of this will remain same. They are not going to change. So now what we have understood, the concept of momentum. Now let us talk about how it is related to Newton's second law. But before that, let's talk about the units also. Momentum P is equal to mass into velocity. Unit of mass is kg, velocity is meter per second. So collectively kg meter per second is a unit of momentum. Okay. So now let's talk about Newton's second law. Now Newton's second law states that, listen to the statement properly. External unbalanced force applied is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Or the other way to write this is, rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the external force applied. You can write it both ways. But what this statement is trying to prove is, suppose there is one object having certain mass and it had some initial velocity when it started to move. Then after some time period, let's say t, the mass of the object will remain same, but it has attained some final velocity. Okay, and we all know that momentum is what? It is a product of mass into velocity. So this Newton's second law is trying to state that change in momentum means final momentum minus initial momentum with time. Whenever there is a word called rate of change of momentum, there always should be time in the denominator. So here rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the external unbalanced force applied. It means the amount of force that you will be applying will be equivalent to the rate of change of momentum. Always equivalent to the rate of change of momentum. Here I'd like to mention one more thing. Whenever we have a sign of proportionality in a formula in physics, it is always replaced by a constant. So here the constant is K P2 minus P1 divided by T, wherein the value of K is 1. So finally the formula becomes P2 minus P1 by T, or the other way to write it as F equals to delta P by delta T. Here delta means change. Okay, so you have to remember Newton's second law because it is very, very important. It is also going to explain you one more concept. We'll move ahead with that also. But always remember the statement properly, because the derivation also you can do if you remember the statement. External unbalanced force applied is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Now, this is the proper definition of, rather say this is a proper statement for Newton's second law. But we have another case also, which is, let's prove how it is. I had given you the same example over there. Suppose we have an object of mass m having initial velocity u. It moves to a certain point. Again, the mass will remain same because mass is constant, but the velocity will be v. Now here time is t. Now the initial velocity, if we see, of this system is P1 equals to, or P initial equals to m into u, P final equals to m into v, and t is the time which has been taken by this object to move from this point to this point. So what we have to do, we simply have to put in these values over here in this formula. We can write it as F equals to mv minus mu divided by t. F equals to, because mass is same, object is only one, so we can write mv minus u by t. We all know that v minus u by t is what? Acceleration. So I can write it as F equals to m into a. Now you all can see that we have got one more formula from this statement of Newton's second law. This is the proper formula for the statement of Newton's second law, and this is a special case wherein what we have done, we have derived the basic formula of force, which is mass into acceleration, from Newton's second law. This is also one of the reasons that it is said that Newton's second law is a real law, because actually this law can prove all three. First also, second though it is there only, third law also can be proved by Newton's second law. I hope this is clear to you.